So, we have another week of college football done, and as I have yet to see anybody actually show out on the power rankings for the AAC, which, by the way, is my second favorite conference, and I love them. Got my second favorite team of all time, which is Navy, and also one of my favorite teams right now, which is South Florida. I'm going to do a power rankings conference on the AAC conference. American Athletic Conference, in my opinion, is the strongest overall conference in the group of five or group of six, whatever you want to call them now, because they've got more loaded teams. They've got better coaching and teams currently over what the others have. And it keeps being shown week to week. So I'm going to start with number 14 and I am going to go from there. Now, this is neutral field thought processes. This is how they've been playing, all of that. Now, it could be that you may disagree, and I want to hear. But I'm looking at everything, I'm looking at who the coaches are, all of that. And we are going to get into this. So, if you like college football, if you like SEC, AC football, I cover all of college football. I cover other sports as well because, well, I don't get into rank or I don't get into the recruiting and the transfers unless it's something important. But still, I cover college football. So hit like and subscribe, and here we go. Hey, folks, this is Paul with Redneck Sports. I want to thank you for viewing my video. And I want to give you one thought process. There was a famous coach at University of Tennessee by the name of General Robert Neyland. He had 6 maxims, but number 2 maxim is what everybody should apply to their life. Play for and make the breaks. When one comes your way, score. That's how to live your life right there. Now, at number 14 is the Charlotte 49ers. Now, Tim Album is getting this team to where they need to be. I know he's got to change the culture, got to get them in the right mindset. And here's somebody that's won the NAIA championship. He's won a national championship. He won the MAC conference. And he was 25-8 at Northwestern Oklahoma. He was 33-19. He went 10 wins for 3 seasons of his 4 seasons at Ohio. At Charlotte, okay, he's not doing that good this season, but it doesn't mean he won't. But he's only won 1 game. It was against Monmouth, who is actually a good team when it comes to the FCS. They're 3-1. They're second in the CAA. So they're a good team, just not to that level. He got beat in a shootout against Rice, 20-3 against North Carolina, 34-11 against App State. They've got an okay defense. I mean, when you look at their stats right now, Connor Harrell, 64-96, 66.7% completion rate. He's thrown 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, been sacked twice, so a decent offensive line. 737 yards through the air. His backup, 23 of 44, 296 yards, 52.3 completion rate. Grayson Loftus, 1 touchdown through the air, 2 tackles, 2 interceptions, and 6 sacks. So he's not working with a lot. Rod Daney Jr. is his leading rusher, 31 for 145, 1 touchdown. Connor Harrell, the QB1, 28 for 67, 2 touchdowns. So they've only got 3 touchdowns on the ground and 5 through the air. 3 from EJ Mason, 20 catches, 308 yards. So their air game is pretty good. Javen Nicholas, 22 for 270, got a touchdown. And Joey Beams, a tight end, 6 for 34, 1 touchdown. Their defense, they've been able to get to the opposing quarterback 5 times, got 7 pass deflections, no interceptions, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery. you know, they've got an okay defense, but they just haven't been able to translate that yet. I don't doubt that they will, but not this year. Now, my number 13 team is the UAB Blazers. Now, part of this is just simple fact of that Trent Dilfer hasn't been able to show a whole lot. He won in a shootout against FCS Alabama State. Uh, Now, this is Alabama State that's actually first in the SWAC. Alabama State beat Southern Miles and Florida A&M. So, I mean, it's a nice win. They lost to Navy 38-24, another shootout. So this offense, hey, Jalen Kitna, this offense is good. They beat Akron in another shootout. And they lost to Tennessee 56-24. So they shown that their offense is actually pretty good. Jalen Kitna, 1,256 yards, 108 of 150, 72% completion rate, got 8 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, been sacked 7 times, which, okay, considering they've gone up against one of the best in the SEC, Javon Jackson has rushed 51 times for 280 yards, got 3 touchdowns. Isaiah Jacobs, 25 for 114, 2 touchdowns. Solomon Beebe, 19 for 76, 2 touchdowns. And Nate Rogers, the one of the quarterbacks, 4 rushes, 23 yards, 1 touchdown. So 8 touchdowns on the ground. That's kind of impressive. Uh, Receiving, Corey Milner's got 3 touchdowns on 17 of 268, along with 49. Iverson Hooks, 21 of 267, got 2 touchdowns, and long of 51. Brandon Hawkins, 17, 189, 41, or 41 yards is long, 1 touchdown. Caleb Brown, 5 for 95, 1 touchdown. Javon Jackson, the running back's got a touchdown by catching with 10 catches, 59 yards. So they're doing something when it comes to offense. On defense, they've even been able to get some sacks. 8 sacks, got 13 pass deflections, 1 interception, 1 forced fumble, 2 fumble recoveries. They're somewhat okay defense, somewhat, with an offense that is looking really good. Trent Dilfer's turning this team around, but it's not there because they're still losing when they've still lost a little bit. But it could be that they'll be able to increase their standings later on in the season. Now, here's a team at number 12 that, okay, I'm going to say this: they are probably going to drop. I could switch them out right now with UAB. It's that kind of confusion. But Tulsa Golden Hurricanes under first year coach Trey Lamb. Now, Trey Lamb has got 2 conference titles in the Big South slash OVC, well, Big South OVC when they combined conference. So 2 conference titles there. He took East Tennessee 7-5 in his only year there. Now he's at Tulsa. He's 2-3. He beat Abilene Christian, which they've had some decent wins and decent losses. They lost to Incarnate Word, which is a really good team. Lost to TCU and lost to Tulsa, but they beat SF Austin and Austin P. Uh, they did lose by a touchdown to New Mexico State. They were, if they had visited there, they had Navy come to them 42-23 loss. Then they beat Oklahoma State, which they should not have been able to do, but they did. First time since I think it's like 1951 or something. I don't know. And then they lost today versus Tulane. Baylor Hayes, a half bad quarterback, not a good quarterback. He's 52 of 90, 65.6 completion rate, 542 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, been sacked 3 times. Kirk Francis, his backup, 33 of 54, 318 yards. 61.1%, two touchdowns, one interception, two sacks. And Stephen Kittleman, their QB3, is not got any of that, but they got a leading rusher with 442 yards. That's Dominic Richardson, 84. He's got two touchdowns. A.J. Allen's got 20 for 114, one touchdown. Baylor Hayes has got two touchdowns rushing, 19 for 50 yards. So they've got 5 yards on the ground, five through the air. Zion Booker, 29 for 273. Uh, Brody Foley, a tight end, 8 for 118, two touchdowns. Braylon Presley, a running back, caught 10, 76 yards, one touchdown. Calvin Johnson, 3 for 43, got a touchdown. So they've got a not bad deep or offense. Their defense, 10 sacks for them, 10 pass deflections, three interceptions, three forced fumbles, three fumble recoveries. You're looking at a team that Trey Lance got going in the right direction, just hasn't been able to translate that on the board. They're trying to get this a little bit better. And I think that they could, I don't know, they could drop, they could raise. It's going to be it's going to be difficult for them. But Trey Lamb, I think's got them going the right direction already. Now, I might be a little controversial here. My number 11 is the FAU Owls. They've only won one game. They're 1-3. They lost to Maryland 39-7 at Maryland. They beat Florida A&M 56-14. They went to Florida International, lost in a shootout 38-28, and they just lost to Memphis 55-26. Now, this is Zach Kitley's first year as a head coach ever. Um, he had been the offensive coordinator and QB coach for Houston Baptist, Western Kentucky, Texas Tech. Yeah, this guy, he graduated Texas Tech, but this is a guy that, he's got it going. And he showed that he can score against Memphis. Their defense is That's where their biggest problem is, but they're showing that, hey, they can still hold Maryland. I think that they've got a lot more picks. Like Caden Beltcamp, their QB1, 91-39, 64.7% completion rate, 8 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. They've got to get that corrected. I think that's where their biggest problem is right now. And been sacked 6 times, which is part of the reason why he's throwing interceptions. No protections. QB2 Zach Gibson hasn't thrown anything, and he's got 2 sacks. So 8 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, not a good look. Their leading rusher is Jamari Sands, 33 for 232, but no touchdowns. They've only got 5 on the ground. Um, but they've got some good dudes here. Caden Beltcamp's 23 of 21, one touchdown. They just, this loss to Memphis is, especially considering how good Memphis is, not surprising. But their defense, they're able to get after the opposing quarterback. 7 sacks on the year, 16 pass deflections, no interceptions though. But that pass deflection rate is pretty good. Forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries. They're okay defense, okay offense. I think that they're just needing to, from everything I've seen, Caden Beltcamp, he's got a good QBR rate. Don't get me wrong. Um, it's just they don't have the offensive line. I think that's the only thing holding them back, and that might be why it's a little controversial to say that they're at number 11. But I think that they've still got several winnable games in front of them, which will show why they would be good at number 11. Now, number 10 is another one of those, only got one win, but considering one of how two of their games went, uh, they lost to Tarleton State in a double overtime 30-27 loss. Then they went to Kansas State, beat them 24-21, lost in an overtime 45-38 to North Texas. That's the showing that shows that they've got a little bit more oomph to them because they then went to East Carolina and lost 28-6. East Carolina and North Texas are both really good games. They should be favorites against UAB. I think that the biggest headache here is this is not your normal Jeff Monken team. Plus, they've been having QB problems. Uh, Dwayne Coleman has been doing really good things for this team, though. But Kel Helms keeps getting put in there. That's because Kel. This is one of those situations where one quarterback got hurt. That was supposed to be QB1. QB2 came in, and yeah, it's one of those things. And this is a triple option. Their defense, not as good, but they've been able to get pass deflections. They can't get to the opposing quarterback, but they are getting interceptions. They are getting pass deflections. They got 14 pass deflections. Probably not today's game on there, but they're forcing fumbles. They're getting fumble recoveries. They got the same thing as Navy, only less firepower. They don't have the duo that or the combination like Navy does, but they're still wearing out these opponents to the point that they're almost winning. And I think that's where a lot of this is coming in at between injuries, between everything. I think when they're healthy, they're going to be doing a little bit better. So that's why they're at number 10 right now. You take a look at everything. Now, it could end up being, that K State will be their best win and they're going to drop dramatically. So we're going to see as they go along. But right now, with the talent that they've got, with coaching that they've got, being number 10 is probably, a good center point for what they're going to be this year. Now, at number 9, I've got the Temple Owls. Now, this is a team that smacked around UMass, smacked around Howard, then had Oklahoma come to them. Um, yeah, it's Oklahoma. We've seen what they can do. They went 42-3. Them holding them to 42 is a good thing. Then they got into not a pretty one, and it wasn't good by the end of the game. Shootout with Georgia Tech. They scored 24 in Georgia Tech, who's a decent team. It's 45-24 loss, or 45-24 loss. And, you know, Evan Simon, their QB1, he's 53 and 92, 57.6 completion rates, thrown 10 touchdowns, been sacked 7 times, but no interceptions. This offensive line is not holding up that good, but then again, no, they played Oklahoma and Georgia Tech, so that's what that is. Their QB2 has thrown 2 touchdowns as well, no interceptions, been sacked once, 14 of 17. You know, not bad at all. Rushing, Jay Ducker, 50 for 315, 2 touchdowns. Hunter Smith, 18 for 126, a touchdown. Terez Worthy, 23 carries, 71 yards, 1 touchdown. So only 4 touchdowns on the ground. But they've got guys that can do something. Jay Ducker and Hunter Smith both have great longs, 55 and 65. So it's a run game that, they're having to rely on two rushers, but not bad rushers at all. On the other hand, Jago Bermudez of wide receivers caught 15, 184 yards, 2 touchdowns. Peter Clark, 8 for 147, 2 touchdowns. And he's got along at 30. Xavier Irvin, 5 for 85, got along at 46, got a touchdown. Kajia Holloway, 5 catches, 76 yards, 2 touchdowns. Terez Worthy, 6 for 74, 1 touchdown. Colin Chase, 9 for 70, 1 touchdown. Ryder Cush, 8 for 38, 2 touchdowns. Jaquez Smith, 1 for 12 for a touchdown. So they've got dudes on the receiving end. And they've got 8 sacks. Could be a little bit better. They got 16 pass deflections. three interceptions, two forced fumbles, two fumble recoveries. It's a team that, looking forward to the schedule, they could definitely rise. They have to be able to stick in there. Offensive line is probably their biggest problem right now because their quarterback not throwing interceptions, having gone against who they've gone against. Hey, this is a team that could be on the rise, but right now they're just looking a little bit down considering. But this UTSA game on October 4th is probably going to show a lot of what they're going to be doing in conference. Now, number 8, there are way too many owls. They could rename this the Hoot Conference. Um, Scott Abel led Rice. Now here's a dude that's got multiple conference championships in the Pioneer and Old Dominion Athletic Association with Davidson and Washington and Lee. He's 3-2 right now. Beat pretty decent Louisiana team 14-12, or should have been a pretty decent. They haven't necessarily been that this year. Um, and right now, Raging Cajuns are 2-3. They beat Marshall, beat McNeese, but lost to Mizzou, Eastern Michigan, and Rice. Um, 35-9. Holding Houston doesn't seem to be that difficult, unfortunately, but still lost to him. Prairie View A&M. They beat them 38-17, and Prairie View is 3-2 as well. Lost to Rice, lost to UT Rio Grande, but beat Texas Southern, Northwestern State, and Grambling. So they're first in the SWAC. Uh, Beat Charlotte 28-17. And they just lost to Navy 21-13. So they've shown that they've got some abilities. Chase Jenkins, their quarterback, they're trying to do a triple option style. Scott Abel's brought in like a triple option style, partially because of this offensive line. This Chase Jenkins has been sacked 7 times. His backup, Drew Devilier, has been sacked. It's a Chase Jenkins is one of the top rushers, right behind Quentin Jackson. Got decent receivers. Drayden Dickman, good wide receiver, got 106. Yeah, this is a balanced team. Went down to the wire with Navy. That was the biggest headache. Their defense, they're able to get to the opposing team's quarterback. 14 sacks, 19 pass deflections, 2 interceptions, 4 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries. Scott Abel's able to keep in these games, and being 3-2 is not a bad deal at all. This is a team that, in all honesty, has proven that they can beat um, other Group of Five schools. They just haven't. They weren't able to beat Houston. Um, not they've got a good shot at winning a few more games and going to a bowl game. That's how good they are looking right now. Now, number 7, I've got UTSA. UTSA got into a shootout with both Texas A&M and Texas State. Texas A&M, you know, Texas A&M is 4-0 right now. They're number 9 in the nation, so they're probably going to go up in the conference after this win against Auburn. Texas State, they was definitely a shootout, 43-36. Uh, Arizona State's the only team that's beaten Texas State. Uh, they're 3-1 currently. They Now UTSA did beat Incarnate Word, who is 2-3 in the Southland Conference. They did lose Northern Illinois or Northern Arizona and Nichols, but they beat Abilene Christian and East Washington. And then they beat Colorado State 17-16 at Colorado State. That was, they've shown that they've got some gumption in there, and they're willing to have a decent offense, actually a pretty good offense. They get into shootouts. Their defense probably needs to get a little bit better after the quarterbacks. They've only got 8 sacks on the year, but 17 pass deflections, 3 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles. They need to quit allowing everybody to get into their secondary. Their defensive line's not as good. Their offensive line's doing pretty good. Owen McCown, let me tell you, this guy's good for what he's got. He's got 2 interceptions, but 7 touchdowns. Braden Tennyson, his QB1's got a touchdown. They got a good rusher in Robert Henry, who has got 68 carries, 624 yards, 7 touchdowns. So they've got 8 touchdowns on the ground. Amarian Peterson's got the other touchdown. He's got 13 of 36. Owen McCown's got 12 rushes for 60 yards, no touchdowns though, but 8 touchdowns on the ground, 8 through the air. They're pretty balanced on offense, even though Robert Henry's carrying their rush game right now. And they've got a few other guys that look like they can do something. Will Henderson, 30 carries, 117 yards. He just hasn't been able to break through. But Robert Henry's got a 76 yard long. AJ Wilson, wide receiver, has got a 77-yard long run, 156 yards. Devin McCune's 22 of 217. He's got a 42-yard long run and 2 touchdowns. Robert Henry, running back, 11 catches, 96 yards, 74-yard long run, 2 touchdowns through the air. See, they've got an offense. Their defense, not getting, they somewhat decent job getting to the opposing quarterback. 8 sacks, could be a little bit better, but 17 pass deflections, 3 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries. Chad Banks, leading tackler with 32 and leading in with interceptions, 2 interceptions. So Chad Banks is their dude. He's a linebacker on offense. I mean on defense. But their second dude is Jimmy Wyrick, who's a safety, 26 tackles. It's a pretty decent offense at UTSA. Jeff Traylor's he's been there since 2020, got 2 conference championships when he was in Conference USA, getting used to what it takes to be in American. He went 9-4 his first year there, 7-6 last year, and I think from the looks of it, he should do pretty good this year as well. Now, for number 16, East Carolina. East Carolina they got beat by 24, or they got beat 24-17 at North Carolina State. That's an interesting game all to itself. They literally had back-to-back games against North Carolina State. Um, then they beat Campbell 56-3. Coastal Carolina they beat 38-0. They've got a good defense. BYU though, that one stung. 34-13 at home loss. Then they just beat Thursday Army 28-6, which is why Army's down where they are. They're 3-2. Blake Harrell took over last year after the head coach was fired. Here's a guy that's very defensively minded. You're seeing that in the games. And, you know, Peyton Hauser, their QB1, 123 for 180, 68.3 completion rate. He's got 7 touchdowns through the air. He has been intercepted 4 times, been sacked 4 times. Chasten Ditta, 3 of 4. He's got a touchdown. Leading rusher is London Montgomery, 51 carries, 209 yards, got a long of 33, 2 touchdowns. Parker Jenkins, 45 of 138, 2 touchdowns. Marlon Gunn, 31 of 126, 2 touchdowns. TJ Engelman, 12, 73, 1. Mike Wright, 9, 52, 1. Kate Hauser's rushed 33 times, got 51 yards, got 2 touchdowns. This is, okay, let's just break it down. They got 12 touchdowns on the ground. So this is a rushing team and 8 touchdowns through the air. So it's stronger towards the rush, but they're somewhat balanced. Their offensive line's holding not bad. Um, their defense, 12 sacks, not bad. 16 pass deflections, 3 interceptions, 7 forced fumbles, 6 fumble recoveries. This is what you would think that you would get from somebody that's got a defensive coordinator turned head coach. He's getting East Carolina turned around into something that is really scary. Other than I would say that BYU game, which okay, yeah, BYU's a Big 12 school, and they're now ranked 25th and are undefeated. They've beaten Stanford, East Carolina, Colorado, and Portland State. So yeah, it was what it was. They're fixing to face Tulane. I think that's going to be showing a lot of what's going on in this conference with that one game. But East Carolina being at number 6, not bad at all. Now, number 5 in the conference, I've got as Navy. They're 4-0. They're 3-0 in the conference. But considering who they beat UAB, Tulsa, and Rice. Now that Rice win, number 18 in the power rankings in how I've got everything. 21-13, it was a dogfight. Tulsa 42-23, UAB 38-24. BMI they beat 52-7. You got Horvath, Tuska, um, I mean, seriously, Horvath, Teska, Heidenreich, and on defense, you got Mark Anthony Parker and Justin Ross. This is a very experienced team. Newberry has got this team at a razor's edge. Now, his defense isn't as good as what I would think, which is why I think they're only at 5, but their offense is what's getting them there. They got 18 touchdowns on the ground, 3 through the air. Teska, Horvath, and Heidenreich are the top 3 rushers, and then you throw in Braxton Woodson, who's number 4. When you've got your 2 QBs rushing that much, and they've only got 3, only having 3 through the air, well, that's this offense, but they show that they can do it. Luke Hutchinson, wide receiver, has got 4 catches, 104 yards, a long of 63, and 2 of those touchdowns. So he's able to get out there. Eli Heidenreich, long at 35, 12 catches, 170 yards. Alex Teska's rushed 56 times, 376 yards, 4 touchdowns. Blake Horvath, 62, 355, 5 touchdowns. Teska's got a long at 65. Blake Horvath's got a long at 35. Braxton Woodson's got a long of 74, 2 touchdowns, and got 30 rushes for 232. And Eli Heidenreich's got 30 rushes, 232, 3 touchdowns. This is what you get with this combination in there. And Braxton Woodson will be QB1 next year. This is a very experienced team. Their defense not holding up as well as they need to, in my opinion, which is why, power rankings wise, they're only at 5. And you'll see they've got better teams that they're going to be playing, but them being able to beat Rice after what happened last year, another triple option team, this is, you know, Navy being at 5 is not a bad thing. They're undefeated. They could go much further. Now, the number 4 team, and this is a team that is looking like they can move up quite easily. Eric Morris coached North Texas. They are currently 5-0. You heard that right. They're 5-0. Now they got to face off Florida next, but um, they beat Lamar 51-0. Beat Western Michigan 33-30 in overtime. Washington State they beat 59-10. Army 45-38 in overtime, and just beat South Alabama 36-22. Now, South Alabama's an up and down team. You don't know who you're going to get. You can't game plan against South Alabama. You've got to get the basics in there and just hope to God that they don't do something they even the basics can't cover. 45-38, quite that triple option if you're not ready for it, but they're going to have to play Navy, which is where I'm seeing they might have a problem. Washington State, Washington State's 3-2. They beat Idaho, beat San Diego State, and beat Colorado State, but they've lost to Washington. It's Washington. And they lost to North Texas. Or, Western Michigan is probably the oddball out here. 2-3 in the match. Uh, Somebody who's beat Rhode Island and Toledo, but lost to Michigan State, North Texas, and Illinois. So they've had a murderer's row, but them beating Rhode Island and Toledo, then they're heading to UMass. They're going to have a much better record and much better season from the looks of it. Lamar is what Lamar is. And, you've got Drew Mestamaker, 92 of 130, 70.8 completion rates, thrown for 1,013 yards, thrown 10 touchdowns, no interceptions, been sacked 4 times. They've also got 18 rushes on the ground. Mackenzie McGill, 50 for 271, 4 touchdowns. Caleb Hawkins, 26 for 167, 5 touchdowns. Jaden Bex, 21 carries, 87 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kiefer Sibley, 13 for 76, 2 touchdowns. Drew Westermaker, 16 carries, 69 yards, 1 touchdown. So 18 on the ground. Their offensive line's doing what they need to do on this. Their leading receiver, not in yards but touchdowns, is Wyatt Young, 12 catches, 179 yards, 3 touchdowns, long of 46. Cameron Dorner's coming in with 2. Trey Williams, the tight end's coming in with 2. And on defense, 10 sacks, little unimpressive compared to a lot of them, and only 8 pass deflections. This defense is their weakness, but they've got 6 interceptions. 6 interceptions. Think about that. 4 forced fumbles, 5 fumble recoveries. I mean, Eric Morris is an offensive minded person. I think that it's just his need. And he's been improving North Texas. 5-7 the first year there, 6-7 last year. Lost in the first responder bowl against Texas State. And then he's already 5-0. Yeah, this North Texas team is going to be very, very scary. Mean Green look like they could be a power without anybody realizing it. Now, I'm putting Memphis in the 3rd spot. The reason is because they haven't had as good of a win as either of the top 2 teams. They beat Chattanooga, UTC, University of Tennessee Chattanooga Moccasins, 45-10. They should have been able to beat them a little bit better if they were had more of power. This year Chattanooga Mocs are not as good. Normally they're a decent team. They went to Georgia State, beat them 38-16. Went to Troy, beat them 28-7. And that was a team that put up 16 on a Clemson team that nobody knows what's going on with them. Then they came back home, beat Arkansas 32-31, but it's Arkansas. That's the problem. Yeah, it's an SEC team. Arkansas should have been able to beat them, but just couldn't pull it out. And the only teams that Arkansas has beat is Arkansas State and Alabama A&M. They got into a shootout with Ole Miss, though. Memphis shootout, and then they just plain out quit playing against Memphis. Florida Atlantic, they just beat today at Florida Atlantic, 55-26. So Memphis is starting to build up. They're starting to show that they've got a little bit of grit to them. Ryan Silverfield's got this team going good. Brendan Lewis, not enough people are talking about him. He's got 1,003 yards through the air, 83, 124, thrown 5 touchdowns, but been intercepted twice. This offensive line is where their weakness is. He's been sacked 10 times. And CJ Smith, the wide receiver, they threw a weird trick play. He got intercepted in that trick play, so it didn't work. Sutton Smith, 60 carries, 420 yards, 5 touchdowns. Brendan Lewis has been rushing more than anything else. Now, mind you, 1,003 through the air, but he still got 65 carries, 353 yards, 6 touchdowns. So this is an option offense that is showing that it's worthwhile. They got 236 yards on the ground, 1,003 through the air. So you don't know what they're going to do with this ball. That's what's making them scary. Cortez Graham's got 4 touchdowns through the air, 19 touchdowns on the ground, 5 through the air. Their defense, they got 11 sacks, 19 pass deflections, 6 interceptions with 2 TDs from interceptions, 5 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries. Sam Brumfield, 30 tackles, 3 sacks. He's somebody that you got to watch out for. Their linebackers and defensive backs are doing really good. They're holding that front line pretty well. They just need to work on their own offensive line. That's the only weakness that this team has, and Ryan Silverfield will probably do much better. But right now, with the wins that he's got and how he's won, this is why they're at number 3. Now, number 2, Tulane. Tulane, they beat Northwestern, which is the next to last team in the Big Ten. Beat them 23-3. Now, part of that was they wouldn't let them wear the jerseys. That whole thing. I would have beaten them. I would have hoped they would have been able to beat them better. They beat South Alabama at South Alabama 33-31. So South Alabama is an odd team. I can't say they're good. I can't say they're bad. They're just odd. They beat Duke at home 34-27. This is a Duke team that just beat Syracuse. Okay, Steve Angeli's hurt. That's the biggest thing here. They're 3-2. They beat NC State, beat Syracuse pretty well, beat Elon. They've only lost to Illinois and Tulane. That's the only 2 teams that they've lost to. Um, so they're undefeated when it comes to ACC. Yes, they did lose to Ole Miss 45-10, but you see what Ole Miss did against LSU. Most likely, this is a team. Ole Miss is a team making a run to the playoffs. Tulsa, they beat them today, 31-14. They're 4-1. And only loss is to an Ole Miss team that is probably going to the playoffs. When you look at their stats, John Summerall's got Jake Retzlaff, who, let me tell you something. Jake Retzlaff could have stayed at BYU and been really good. And he's at Tulane, 51-95, long as 63, thrown 2 touchdowns through the air, but been sacked 3 times. That's not bad considering who they played. But Retzlaff's also the leading rusher, 339 yards, 48 carries, 6 touchdowns. Byron Mobley's got 2 touchdowns. They've got 8 on the ground. They got 3 through the air, and they're still finding ways to win. They've got only 5 sacks, which is a little disturbing. 17 pass deflections, 5 interceptions, 3 forced fumbles, and 4 fumble recoveries. Dixon Agu, leading tacklers, a linebacker. This is why their defense is a little concerning. Two of their number 2 and number 3 leading tacklers are their safeties. So they're getting into the secondary a little too much with Tulane. That's the biggest reason they're at 2 instead of 3. But this is still a team that's finding ways to beat teams. And that's their primary weakness right now. Their offensive line is holding halfway decent. They're just not scoring as much as they need to. In a lot of ways, but they're still winning, so it doesn't matter. Their defense is going to be their only weakness this season, it looks like. Now, number 1, South Florida Bulls. Now you're talking about a team that beat Boise State. Yeah, Boise State came to them, but they trounced Boise State. Boise State, by the way, um, who was 25th in the nation at the time, has beaten East Washington 51-14. Oh, yes, FCS school. Beat Air Force 49-37. Air Force is what Air Force is. Beat App State App State came to them 47-14. So they're looking like they could make a good run into the Mountain West again this year. So them getting beat the way they did by South Florida, and then they went into Florida, beat Florida in the swamp. Okay, they got trounced by Miami at Miami, but it's Miami, and they're looking to be the best ACC team there. Then they beat South Carolina State better than what a Lenore Sellers led South Carolina could beat them. They're next facing Charlotte, which is the worst team in their conference. I mean, Byron Brown, if you don't know that name, hey, you should. 983 yards in the air, 120 yards on the ground. They've got 6 rushing and 7 passing uh, touchdowns. Sacks are a problem, but considering who they've already gone against, this offensive line is learning what they need to do. So 7 sacks on Byron Brown, not a good thing. Lachlan Hewlett, QB2's got a touchdown in there. Byron Brown's got 6 through the air, so that's a 7. Byron Brown's got 2 touchdowns rushing. Sam Franklin's 2 touchdowns rushing. Tavius Norton's got 1. Nakai Davenport's got 1. And on defense, 8 sacks compared to considering who they've gone up against. 11 passes deflected, got a touchdown via interception, which they've got 4. 3 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries. It's an okay defense. Actually, not a scoring defense, even. Having a touchdown that they were able to score on, throw in the fact that they've got Byron Brown, Alvin Isaacs, who, yeah, doesn't have a touchdown, but got along at 49, got 121 yards. Kaz Nimrod's got a lot of experience, got 14 catches, 367 yards, 2 touchdowns. Deshaun Singleton, 13 catches, 235 yards, 2 touchdowns. Nimrod's got 55-yard long run and 66 for Deshaun Singleton. Yeah, this is an offense that is more than making up for any problems. In their defense, the only weakness that they've got is that offensive line. No joke. That's their only weakness right now. And that was against 3 top 10 or 3 rated teams. I think they've been getting disrespected by the AP poll, but they deserve #1 power ranking. I know ESPN's got Memphis. They keep getting disrespected, but they've got the better wins. Yeah, they're only 3-1, but that one loss was against a Miami team that hasn't shown many weaknesses this year. There are a whole bunch of things that we still have to learn, but we've got 5-0 teams in the AAC that are most likely going to have really good seasons. We've got a couple of teams that's got one loss records that are probably far scarier than some of the 5-win teams. That is what's going on right now in the AAC. This I would put them up against any conference. I really would. Um, they've beaten SEC teams. They've beaten AAC teams, beaten Mountain West teams. This is a very scary conference, and this power ranking, yeah, it's going to change. But let me tell you something. Charlotte 49ers, this is a rebuild year. They've got to change their mentality because Albin is somebody who knows how to win, and he's going to put that into place. Blazers, I don't know what Trent Dilfer's going to do from year to year. Honestly, I don't. Tulsa, they're on a high right now, but they've still got to go up against folks that are far better than them. FAU, Army. Some of these could change through the year. Like Navy could, East Carolina could, and you could almost swap out Memphis, Julian, and South Florida. It's what the computer or between what their record is, between how they've played, between their coaches, all that. That's what makes this up. Power rankings are who could win at this time. You're also having to look at this isn't counting if somebody gets hurt. For South Florida, if Byron Brown gets hurt, I don't know what they. I don't know if their backup is as good as he is. So right now, if everybody stays pretty healthy, it's going to be the best group of five conference, in my opinion. And the only reason that they won't go to a college football playoff is because there's a bias towards the Mountain West, which pisses me off. AAC right now looks like the team that should, or it looks like the conference that should have a team going into the college football playoff. End of story. They have the top three teams. Actually, no, I take that back. They have the top four teams that should go, with maybe and East Carolina not being that far behind. So you having six teams right there, and the next level of UTSA, Rice, Temple, and Army. Yeah, well, no, right? UTSA, Rice, and Temple could do far better. This is a conference that you should be paying attention to. So, hope you enjoyed the power rankings. This has been Paul with Redneck Sports. Y'all have a good day now. Bye. I want to thank you for watching my video. And if you like what you saw, like, subscribe, and comment. Y'all have a good day now.